How's it going, everyone? Back with another video. This is going to be my week 7 recap video. Hope you guys know the gist by now. Just kind of dive into all the games, break down my thought process, just talk about the games. So just dive straight in here. First game was week ago was Thursday game, the Broncos Saints game. So yeah, not a great football game, kind of an ugly football game. I did not expect the Broncos to put up 33, but six of them came directly off the defense. But the end there, expected this to be a low-scoring game, and that's what it was for the. Well, definitely the first quarter was only a single field goal by the Broncos. Uh, Broncos kept kicking field goals, then they started getting some touchdowns. They just were all over the Saints. Saints had pretty much no offense up until the end of the game there. They ended up getting a garbage time touchdown. But yeah, the Saints are they fell off a cliff after the first 2 weeks. They get injuries mounting up. Their injuries just absolutely insane. Their offense is hurt, their defense is hurt, they're losing corners, they're losing their receivers. Obviously, Barr's out. There's a question of maybe Rattler might not even start. It's like, Jesus, this team. Dennis Allen's on the hot seat. He's probably going to get fired at the end of the year. Saints are just, oof, they are in just complete chaos. They are in turmoil right now. So kind of feel bad for the Saints, but yeah, just they really struggled on offense. Uh, yeah, they had 271 yards. A good portion of that came at the end of the game there. They really struggled to move the ball throughout the game. Broncos outplayed them, certainly deserved to win this game. Yeah, I had a scoreless quarter bet, so of course the Broncos end up kicking a field goal at in the first quarter there to ruin that. And then I had the under for this game, which would have hit if the Saints didn't get the garbage time touchdown at the end. So I was really annoyed about that. Also had to start Cortland Sutton in two of my leagues because of buys and injuries, and he got a grand total of zero, not only points, didn't even get a single target in this game. First time I've started him all year, so that describes my fantasy luck this year so far. The Broncos' offense actually looked pretty good. Even though the Saints' defense is all beat up, the Broncos' offense they were moved the ball most of the game. They were settling field goals early. They ended up getting a couple touchdowns. Bo Nix looked okay. He had a couple wide open receivers he missed that were kind of bad throws, but not the greatest stat line for Bo Nix. We didn't do that bad. Javonte Williams got it going. The Broncos' run game got it going. Really good rushing game from the Broncos. There was some stat they had like over 100 rush yards. I think the first half, the first time like a while or something like that. Bo Nix has been a really good scrambler this year. Had a really good scrambling game in this one. But yeah, I expected the Broncos to win. Thought it'd be a lot closer, like a 13-10, 16-13-ish game, but put up 33. Good offense game. Saints are just falling off a cliff. Broncos are kind of a surprise team so far. They're in the playoffs right now, I think. I think they're the 7 seed right now. At least, I don't know after Sunday, actually, but I think they were the 7 seed entering Sunday. The playoffs started today, so that's interesting. Oh, boy. Oh, God. Where do I even start? Okay. So we started off this game really good. Opening drive touchdown, something it feels like an eternity since we've had one. Uh, Jags got like a first down or two. Then our defense forced a punt. We go right down the field again. Really nice drive. Made a couple nice scrambles. And then there was a play where a Kendrick Bourne was open and it was dropped and I think it was dropped, but I don't remember. I want to say it might have been like a little bit off target, but I don't exactly remember. And after that, we just completely fell off a cliff. The Jags just ran the living shit out of the football. Tank Bigsby went off. Let's see how many. I know he had over 100. Let's see. Yep, 118 rush yards, 26 carries. The Jags had like something like 9 straight carries or something like that in the second half. they just gashed the shit out of us running the ball. The second quarter, Trevor Lawrence had a couple nice passes, hit a deep one to Brian Thomas, set up a touchdown a couple plays later. We just, after that first quarter, we just looked like shit most of this game. Our defense just played so bad, which has been as bad as we've been this year. Our defense has actually been pretty good for the most part. Obviously, the past 2 weeks it has not been, but uh, and then you got Mayo calling the guy soft, and Belichick's kind of criticizing it. And we got so much internally going on right now. It's a shit show. Our offensive line's even more injured than it already was. Already the worst line in the league. Oh God! And then there's Polk had a couple of drops in this one. He had one on a. We went for two late, which made no sense whatsoever. Polk would have had a walk-in conversion for it, and he slipped on the route, and it would have been a one-score game. As bad as we played, it would have been a one-score game, and our defense forced to stop the next drive. So maybe it would have played out differently if he scored, but our defense did force a stop the next drive, so that would have been interesting. Uh, yeah, he had a he had a contested drop, and I want to say he did another flat-out drop, and he posts on his IG story like a picture of just a black background, like the peace emoji or whatever. Then you get KJ Osborne posting a picture of like his agent saying we weren't even going to play him, and to the last minute we didn't give him like any practice reps, barely. We are just such a shit show right now. Drake May did look really good though. Our offense in the fourth quarter, and we were down late, we had to do no huddle, hurry up offense. He had a couple dimes in there, looked really good. That drive we scored a touchdown on in the fourth quarter. He had three passes that were really good to Henry over the middle, who made a great contested catch. Then he had one to Booty, and then he had the touchdown to Osborne. So that he looked good on those couple throws. He looked good this first quarter. Then our offense just some questionable play calling from Alex Van Pelt. Couldn't run the ball to save our life. Seems it in like one rush in the first quarter. That was a good rush. It was like I don't know, it was like 12 yards, I want to say, something like that. Besides that, we could not run the ball to save our lives. Just offensive line's a disaster. Just questionable play calling. Defense is a disaster. Can't stop the run. We're getting called soft by our head coach. Just Jesus, just we are a friggin' disaster right now. Jags should have won. I picked us, but I kind of talked about it in my picture. The Jags are the better team. They probably should win this game. They've been in London. They didn't have to leave, and we left for London late. We left that Thursday after practice. We were getting there late. Jags are already there. Jags are the better team. They play well in London usually. They should have won the game. I picked us. It looked good at the start, but we just Jesus, what a friggin' disaster for us. Oh God, we are just such a disaster right now. It's just so frustrating to watch. It's just we're so bad and just disorganized and just awful. The Jags though are they've won two of their last three. It's against us, it's not a great notable win, but the Colts is a respectable win. They played the Texans tight. They played well at the start against the Bears. They had multiple drops. They shit the bed in that game for the most part, but no shame in that. The Bears are a really good team. Their defense is really good, arguably the best in football, and their offense is picking it up. But Jags get a brutal stretch of their schedule coming up, so they'll probably mount some losses in the coming weeks here. But they obviously needed to win this game. They have hope that they can contend for the division. That's probably not going to happen, but they have enough talent. I picked them to go, I think 9-8, my preseason predictions. I didn't think they were going to be as bad as people thought, and I think they're even worse than most people thought. So they're 2-5. They should have a better record, a couple close losses, but they're not a great team either. But they were able to put it together in this one. They certainly deserved this game. They outplayed us, just absolutely gashed us with running the ball. Oh God, just not a great game from us. We are just a friggin' shit show right now. Um, Oh boy, this was such a good game. This had a big game feel to it. Everyone knew this was going to be a good game. I was very back and forth on it, probably like most people. And the Vikings were up 10-0. They started off, couldn't have started off much better. The Lions went for it on, they ran a fake punt in their own territory on like 4th and 7 or 4th and 9, something like that. And it gets stuffed. Vikings, I think in like one or two plays, Aaron Jones scored within that stop of the fake punt. And then they force another punt, then they get a field goal, they're up 10-0, everything's going well. And then the second quarter arrived, and the Lions put up 21 straight. Vikings offense was struggling, and the Lions were up 11, 21-10 at halftime. Then in the third quarter, they matched each other 2 touchdowns. Jefferson had a really nice touchdown catch. And then in the fourth, the Vikings, I think they got 2 field goals. It was a 5-point game, I want to say at the time. And then Jared, or who was it? I think it was David Montgomery that fumbled. Let me check. Yeah, it doesn't say here, but pretty sure it was David Montgomery was the one who fumbled. Vikings got a scoop and score, took the lead, and then they hit another strip sack on Jared Goff. They weren't able to recover it. That would have set them up for at least a field goal. But Lions punted. Vikings were up. Um, yeah, Vikings were up 1, and they could have got a couple first downs, try to chew the clock out, win the game, and they went 3-and-out. And as soon as that happened, I kind of had a feeling the Lions were going to drive straight down the field. They were just torching the Vikings defense for the most part after that first quarter. They just really balanced game from them again. Their offense been unstoppable. I saw Seth, they scored more touchdowns than Jared Goff has incompletions over the last couple weeks. That is just absolutely insane. I cannot believe that. Another really good game from Goff. You mean 3 incompletions, 280, 2 touchdowns. Their offense started off kind of slow to start the year, not typical the Lions offense that we expected, especially in comparison to last year. But they have certainly picked it up. Montgomery got hurt. He had a rough day rushing the ball. I think he had that fumble too, so he didn't really have a great game. Gibbs had a really good game. Amon-Ra had a good game. Just everyone on their offense, for the most part, had a pretty good game. Darnold played pretty good. He did have a pick where I have Aaron Jones on one of my fantasy teams. It was a play action, and Jones, it looked like he was wide open, and Darnold ended up throwing a pick to, I forget who he targeted, but I'm like, of course, there goes fantasy points. End up winning that league anyway, thankfully. But yeah, Jefferson had a good game, had an insane touchdown catch. Uh, Jalen Nailor had like a 2nd and 15, like contested conversion that they ended up scoring on, I'm pretty sure, if I remember right. That was clutch. This is just a really good game, pretty even here with all these stats for the most part. So this was just a really fun game to watch. Yeah, but as soon as the Vikings went 3-0, I kind of had a gut feeling the Lions were going to drive down the field. And then the Vikings ended up spiking at like midfield, like the 50, with a second left. And I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine they get this friggin' Hail Mary? But Darnold ended up getting sacked. But yeah, so Vikings definitely could have won. Lions, I think the Lions probably did deserve the game. I think they outplayed them. They were up most of the game. Like ended up making that run at the end, but the Lions, that clutch drive at the end of the game to get that field goal from Jake Bates, they just a really good game. Really good game all around. Both teams played pretty good. Vikings, that sucks to get your first loss. Like you're 5-1 and now you're second in your division. Oh, that sucks to the Vikings, but they play the Rams tonight. That's going to be a really good game. At least it should be. But yeah, just really good game. Both teams will be fun. Obviously, the Lions have been on the rise past couple weeks. Vikings, I think, will be fine though. I'm not really too concerned about them. Um, oh, this game. So this was interesting to start. So the Titans were up they were 3-0. The Bills were really struggling to move the ball. Titans defense came to play at the start of the game, and um, yeah, that second quarter there, the Titans ended up getting a touchdown. It's a geez, I think the Bills were down 10-0, and then they ended up getting a touchdown. And then after that, their offense just clicked for the rest of the game. They got it in gear. They just the Titans again. The second half offense has not been very good for the most part this year. They got shut out in the second half. Bills offense exploded in the second half. They put up 27 points. They woke up, and this is kind of the game that I and probably most of us expected. The Bills ended up winning in a blowout. Mason Rudolph looked okay. Tony Pollard, he did fine, did okay, nothing spectacular. Josh Allen played a pretty good game. Coleman had a couple nice catches. Yeah, the Bills definitely deserved to win this game. They outplayed the Titans. They both had 18 first downs. That's interesting. But yeah, just 8 for 52 penalties. Not a great sign for the Titans. They just traded D Hop to, of course, the Chiefs of all teams. Oh my God, help us. So I think they're just accepting that they're yeah, they're not gonna be winning many games this year. I think they've accepted that. Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's really too much else to say about this game. This kind of went as we expected. Slow start for the Bills, maybe a little bit concerning at the start that the Titans might somehow pull it off, and then the Bills just kind of played like we expected them to, and the game went like we expected them it to after the first quarter, and more so the second quarter and the second half there. So this is another interesting game. So the Dolphins were up 10-0. They were having a pretty good day on offense. They definitely made Huntley just a complete game manager. They have really utilized like the eye candy, the motions, the play fakes, just tricking defenses to get guys open because a quarterback like Tyler Huntley running a standard offense probably is going to be much success, even though he did okay in Baltimore. Dolphins have been getting the run game going the past couple weeks too. They've obviously focused on that now that they have a backup quarterback in there. But Devon Achane had a pretty solid day. Jonnu Smith has been pretty underrated the past 2 years. Even the Falcons last year is pretty good. 7 for 96 and a touchdown. That was pretty good game from Jonnu Smith. Richardson is just talking about a weird season for Richardson. Kind of an ugly stat line passing. Their offense looks better under Flacco. I know it's a kind of a small sample size, but Richardson's just been, I don't know, just kind of, I don't know, just not very efficient in terms of passing at least. But the Dolphins are up 10-0. Colts ended up getting a field goal 10-3 at half. And then they scored in the third. It was 10-10. And then Tyler Huntley went out and they had Tim Boyle come in. I'm like, all right, if the Colts do not win this game at home, you've scored 10 straight points, get momentum, it's tied, and you have Tim Boyle in the game. Like, I don't know if I friggin' can pick the Colts again this season, for Christ's sake. If they ended up pulling it, I would anyway, probably, but I'm not gonna pick them to win unless they had lost this game with Tim Boyle in there. But um, I also had money on the Colts this game. They were in my parlay. I was like, my God, am I seriously gonna parlay the Colts? And I did it for an odds boost, and thank God my parlay ended up hitting. So thank you, Colts. But yeah, there was a sequence in the I can't remember, it was the first or second quarter where Richardson and it was having a good drive. He had a couple nice scrambles, and then he fumbled it, and the I don't know if he fumbled it or who fumbled it. Maybe it was the running back Goodson or whoever they had in at the time. And yeah, they turned it over right on a good drive. And the Dolphins did the same thing. They had a fumble late in the pretty deep into Colts territory. I want to say they might have had two deep in their territory, but I know they at least had one that I can remember off the top of my head. So that canceled out at least with the Colts fumble. But yeah, Colts are up 6. They were up 3. then they got the ball, we're up 6, and you had to make Tim Boyle do a 2-minute drive, in which obviously in general that has disaster written all over it, but especially with the him being a third string quarterback to or currently his third string. He might even be the fourth, honestly. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Skylar Thompson. And obviously you're gonna have very limited reps with the starters in general, but especially a 2-minute drill. And they had no timeouts, so that takes away all the eye candy things. You're just gonna run a standard offense. Colts just were in full prevent, so the Dolphins were able to move the ball down to like the 30, and it was fourth down, and Boyle ended up just throwing it out of bounds. I don't know if you lost track of downs, but yeah, Dolphins they're 2-4, but they've kind of been picking it up on offense the last couple of weeks. It kind of started against us. They got the run game going. But yeah, they outgained the Colts by a pretty good margin, around 50 yards. So yeah, they had more passing, they had more rushing. You know, you just look at these stats right here. It's like, how the hell did they lose this game? They had more first downs. Just kind of an ugly win for the Colts. They yeah, just looking at these stats, it's like, how the hell did they lose this game? Yeah, they did have 2 fumbles lost. I had a feeling. That was probably why right there. Big reason fumbles lost for them. Kind of an ugly win for the Colts. So they're 4-3. They've been playing better the past couple weeks. They started out 0-2. So, or yes, they did start out 0-2, right? I'm pretty sure they played Packers week 2, if I remember right. Yeah, because of Malik Cunningham. So they've gone to 4-1 since then, even though they may have not been the prettiest wins. They've been putting together some wins, so good for the Colts. Dolphins get Tua back against the Cardinals. That should be an interesting game this week. Oh, here we are. So this was another interesting game. So the Seahawks basically had full control of this one. The Falcons defense played bad. In my picks video, I talked about how I didn't think the Falcons defense was as bad as people were saying it was, and then they proceeded to allow 34 points up to the Seahawks at home, by the way. They also had a really bad sequence at the end of the half. There was like, with, I want to say there's like 10 seconds left, and the Seahawks were like the 30. It was like 3rd and 15, and they ended up allowing a touchdown to Metcalf. So obviously that's bad. You cannot allow that to happen. They would have been down 6, assuming Myers makes that field goal instead of 10. But they were down 10-0 early. The Falcons, actually in general, Geno Smith had a really good game. Kenneth Walker had a good game. It was his birthday. He had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Metcalf had a good game. He had that touchdown I just talked about. Yeah, just a really good game for the Seahawks all around. Nice bounce back game. Kind of cleaned some things up, put it together. Nice quality win against a good opponent, the Falcons. I picked the Falcons, but I said I definitely could see a Seahawks victory. I didn't think the Seahawks were going to blow them out, though. I thought it would have been a relatively close game. But Seahawks definitely deserved to win this game. They outplayed them, had the lead most of the game. Falcons were trailing the entire game. Yeah, 9 penalties, 72 yards. That's not ideal. Kirk Cousins didn't really have a great game. He had 2 picks. That's not like the worst stat line, but 2 picks, it's kind of ugly. Bijan had a pretty good game. They kept pounding the football in this one. Yeah, Michael Penix got in the game late. It was garbage time, but he had a completion late, 14 yards. So Michael Penix, 100% completion percentage in his career. They've been getting Pitts more involved, so that's good to see. He's on one of my fantasy teams. Jets likely quiet at deadline. I just got that notification. Yeah. I'm just reading my notifications here I just got from Bleacher Report. Yeah, Falcons, they didn't really play that great, but yeah, they were down 10-0, then they scored down 3, then down 10 again. They got a touchdown to start the second half, so they're down 3 again. And then late in the game, they were down 2 scores, and Cousins ended up fumbling it. Seahawks got a scoop and score, and that was pretty much the game from there. Falcons didn't really look too good in this one. I guess they might have kind of been due for a loss after winning 3 in a row. Seahawks are obviously due for a win after losing 3 in a row. They just cleaned some things up, just got back on track. Falcons just not a great game. Not too concerned. I think they'll be fine. The Bucs injuries are starting to really mount, well, more so offense. They just lost Godwin for the year, Evans for a couple weeks. Maybe they make a trade. For some reason, Cooper Kupp's on the block, so maybe they somehow trade for Cooper Kupp. That would be insane. But obviously, the Saints and the Panthers are not going to be contending for the division. So the Bucs kind of in free fall, not free fall, but they are probably going to get some losses mounted up because of the injuries to their receivers. Their defense not been playing great. So I'm not too concerned with the Falcons. I think even in general, they'll be fine, not even just talking about their division. I think they'll be fine. I'm not too concerned about them dropping this one. But yeah, good bounce back game from the Seahawks. Pretty complete game from them. So this was another good game. The Packers, to me, outplayed the Texans by a pretty good margin. I don't know how the hell the Texans were honestly in this game and they had the lead late. Stroud did not play a good game. Barely, actually, less than a 50 percent completion percentage and 86 yards. Joe Mixon carried their offense. He was basically their entire offense. Packers defense has been so good this season. Just very impressive what they're doing. I kind of talked about it in my picture. I said this is, I think, going to be the game they really miss Nico Collins, and I think that kind of showed a little bit. Again, Stroud really struggled passing. He didn't even really have like a fantastic game against us last week passing. I like Stroud. I'm not like a Stroud here though. I really like CJ Stroud, but yeah, Jordan Love had a pretty good, again, kind of a mixed day for him from the stat line. He had 2 picks. I want to say one of them might not have been on him though. I forget at the top of my head. Josh Jacobs, 12 for 76. That's a pretty good day. He did get a receiving touchdown though, so that I think that was like the first receiving touchdown of his career. Wicks had a nice touchdown catch. Nice deep pass from Love. Tucker Kraft had a nice touchdown grab. That was a good catch. But some of the stats here, like as I was kind of just talking about, obviously rush yards, they got 60 more than the Packers, but the Packers outplayed them in these 3 categories here. They got more first downs. They were more efficient on third down. Uh, Texans had 2 more total plays. They allowed 1 less sack, 1 less punt, the same amount of penalty yardage. They did lose a fumble though, 2 picks. So yeah, I guess Texans had 0 turnovers and the Packers had 3. So I guess that's why the Texans were in the game. Their defense played well in the second half. The Texans, they were kind of getting the ball moved on them up and down the field for first half for the most part, and they allowed a touchdown in the third. But they kind of clamped the Packers for a good portion of that second half, and Love ended up leading a nice game-winning drive at the end. I had the Packers, even though this is kind of a coin flip game for me. I had the Packers in my parlay too, maybe a little bold. So I figured McManus is going to miss the kick the way my parlay luck is gone, but he ended up making it, thank God. But yeah, Texans were kind of due for a loss. Packers are just on the rise. They've been playing really well. I think they can finish like one of the best records in the league, honestly. They're just a really complete, well balanced, well coached team. They execute well. Really like the Packers. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this team ends up winning the Super Bowl. Maybe that's a little bold, but yeah, this is a good game. Went right down to the wire, like most people expected. I expected the Texans offense to look maybe a little better, but they did put up 22 against a really respectable defense. So really good defense. And without Nico Collins and Stroud not having a great day. So Mixon had a great game, as I mentioned, got the ball going well there. The run game going. But yeah, really good game in that one. So this game kind of went as I and probably most people expected. Bengals ended up, well, the opening kickoff, they got a touchdown off of. Then they struggled offensively up to that in the first half. That third quarter, they ended up putting up 14, so they kind of clicked it into gear in that third quarter. In the fourth quarter, they didn't do anything really. They didn't do anything on the scoreboard, at least. Deshaun Watson, obviously, he's the big story. Tore his Achilles in this one. Nope, issues found. Wonderful. Thanks, computer. So Watson tore his Achilles in this one. Obviously, out for the year. That's the big story. Obviously, you don't want to see any player get hurt, even though Watson, obviously, not the most popular because A, of his very poor play, and then B, because of all the off-field things that happened, all his lawsuits and things like that. But still, you don't want to see a player get hurt. And he actually was having a pretty good game this week. He was 15 to 17 for a buck 28. He was having probably his best game of the season, and then he ended up getting hurt. Nick Chubb was back. He didn't really do too much. He ended up getting a 1 yard touchdown, which of course I was going up against him in fantasy. So of course that does nothing the whole game and then gets that touchdown. I'm like, of course. So that was good to see Nick Chubb back. Fortunately, it looks like the Browns, their season's just spiraling out of control. They put DTR in, the Browns. He had a couple nice scrambles, DTR, but passing he didn't do good. He had 2 picks. And they put Winston at the end of the game. They ended up scoring, getting a 2-point conversion, made it interesting late. Then the Bengals covered the onside kick. Yeah, not yeah. DTR is their leading rusher. The Browns had nothing going in the run game really. Um, Burrow had an okay game. He had 2 touchdowns that kind of inflated his stat line. But the Bengals offense has really not been good. I mean, it wasn't good this game. Wasn't great the Giants game, obviously. It's just their offense was on fire to start the year, with the exception of Week 1 against us. And then their defense is obviously playing very bad, especially after the first 2 weeks. And the talk was their offense on fire. Burrow's put up MVP numbers. He was the highest. I think he still might be the highest rated passer in the league. And it's just their defense is just so bad. And now it's kind of flipped. Not that their offense has like been horrible, but it has not been great in comparison to the past couple weeks, first couple weeks of the year for the Bengals. And their defense played really well. And I know the Giants were without Neighbors, and their offensive line's kind of a disaster right now. And obviously Daniel Jones is he yeah, I'll talk about that game. But Daniel Jones obviously didn't play well. He got benched. I think more so because the game was over rather than performance, maybe. But um, yeah. And then this one obviously Browns offense has been bad, but you have DTR come in and then Winston. So Bengals defense played well, but it's like they better of considering the competition they're playing, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. They are getting healthy though, their defense. I have faith the Bengals offense is going to start picking it up again. So the defense can keep playing like this. I have faith the Bengals are going to stack some wins here. T. Higgins, pretty good game. Jamar had a touchdown, solid game. Rushing, they didn't really have too much. The Bengals. Um, yeah, Browns outgained them by over 100 total yards of offense. Had more passing yards and rushing yards, and more yards per play. It's just the turnovers is kind of what killed them. I think when DTR came in there and the scrambles, the Bengals kind of obviously didn't prepare for him, didn't expect him to play, but then they adjusted, kind of got things clicking there. Yeah, penalty yards, that was a problem for the Browns. Uh, Time session, the Browns were like, looking at these stats, like, Jesus, like, how did they lose this game? They had 6 more first downs, but I mean, it was never really a question after, I mean, the yeah, that Nick Chubb touchdown, they missed the extra point after. It would have been tied at the half. At least I'm pretty sure they missed the extra point. And yeah, they did. And what was I just gonna say? Yeah, it was a very low score. The Bengals offense, keep talking about it, but Bengals offense kind of struggled in this one in the first half more so. But the Browns defense has been good. It's been keeping them in games this year. It's not as good as last year, but it was a low scoring game to I guess kind of in general. But the first half, the Browns defense was forcing some stops. Like they had most of the year, it's just their offense struggled like the whole year, struggled to get it done. Yeah, Browns obviously spiraling out of control. They're gonna start Winston. Bengals 2 wins in a row. They're kind of on the rise here. Speaking of Daniel Jones, so I picked the Giants in this game. So obviously that was a horrible pick on my part. It was very low scoring. Obviously, the first quarter was both teams got a shitload of sacks. Let me see how many sacks. Let's see. Yeah, the Giants had 8 sacks on them on Daniel Jones, and then the Eagles had 5 on Hurts. Giants defensive line's been playing insane. The Eagles defense has been playing pretty good this year at a couple bad games, but it's very up and down. They look like this one game, then they'll look like they did against the Bucks the other game. Another game, I mean, just kind of a weird season for the Eagles defense. Giants offense really struggled in this one. They got Neighbors back, and they really struggled. They only had 119 yards of total offense, not even 50 passing yards. 76 yards. They only had about 2 yards per play. That's terrible. Only had 10 first down. I mean, the Eagles, of course, deserved to win this game. They outplayed the Giants by a good margin. They they just killed them. Saquon had a pretty good game, had a couple big rushes, 17 for a buck 76 and a touchdown. AJ Brown had a touchdown. It was 4th and 2. The Eagles went for it. It was 7. I want to say it was 7-0 at that time. Yeah, it was 7-0. He ended up getting a touchdown there. Giants hit a drive at the end of the first half. It was pretty good. They got a touchdown, got overturned, and they had to settle for a field goal. That was their only points of the game. Hurts passing didn't really do too much. Didn't really do too much scram. He had 2 tush push touchdowns to inflate his touchdown stats there. Yes, Saquon, obviously a revenge game. A couple nice rushes, as I mentioned. Big rushes, big yardage rushes. Yeah, just the Eagles, very sloppy offense game for the first quarter for both teams, the whole game for the Giants, but it was sack, 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 punt, punt, punt. And then the Eagles kind of just strained it together. They got 2 touchdowns in the second, then 1 each in the third and fourth quarter. Giants just, their offense has not been good most of this year. Obviously, the past couple of weeks, it's really shown, and their defense has kept them right in games too, except for this one. Just their offense is bad. Daniel Jones got benched, as I mentioned. I think it was more so because the game was over rather than performance. Daboll said Daniel Jones is going to start this upcoming week, but just oh boy, just kind of an ugly one for the Giants, obviously, and obviously a good win for the Eagles against. Even though the Giants are bad, their defense has been playing good, so put up 28, hold them to 3. And when they get Neighbors back and they have the capability of moving the ball and scoring, putting up points, so good win for the Eagles. Here we are. Raiders Rams. So this was kind of a weird game. I expected the Rams to win this game by. I expected it to be close. So I expected the Rams to win this game by a margin more than they wanted by. They were down at the start of the game, and it's like the Raiders like actually gonna win this game. I had the Rams in my parlay. That's how pretty I was pretty confident with them. That's how confident I was. I parlayed them, and so I was a little nervous. I did a Brock Bowers though on my team, one of my teams. So he had a pretty good game in this one. He had 10 for 93. So he had a good game. Eden O'Connell broke his thumb, and so they had Minshew come in. He looked good at the start, and then he ended up throwing 3 picks. That was kind of what changed the game, I think. That's when the Rams kind of started scoring some points, stringing some good offensive drives together. And yeah, the Rams after the first quarter, the second quarter, they were down for a bit. They ended up pulling it together. They had the lead. Then Stafford threw a pick, and then that changed the game in the Raiders' favor. But the Raiders ended up getting they ended up getting up. Let me think. Yeah, they got 3 field goals, and they were down 8 with like 2.5 minutes left. They were going to go for it on fourth goal, and then they had a delay or a false start. I think it was a false start, and they ended up kicking the field goal. And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, Pierce is going to take some P to be the Raiders end up losing this game, and then the Rams are able to run the clock down to about a minute and a half left. I want to say maybe 2 minutes. They ended up punting to the Raiders, and the Raiders just weren't able to get it done. Maybe that's when one of Minshew's picks came in, but I don't even think they got a first down. So the Rams defense held on. Pretty good game from the Rams defense. Their defense has kind of been underrated all year. I expected it to kind of show this year, but that's not really been the case besides that Cardinals game, really. Yeah, just looking at the stats here, the Raiders outplayed them in these categories except yards per play. The Rams had about 1 more yard per play. Again, I think it's just Minshew's 3 picks, so they're a big difference in this game. They had almost they had over 20 they had 23 more plays run than the Rams. That's insane. More time of possession. They had 10 penalties for 80 yards. That was another difference. Raiders defense is I really like Patrick Graham. I've liked him for a while, even when he was like dating back to the Giants there, DC. I'm pretty sure he was even with us at one point. And Patriots, I mean. But yeah, their defense has been pretty solid all year. Obviously, they lost Christian Wilkins. I think I'm pretty sure he's on IR. Uh, yeah, just obviously this game they traded Adams. He wasn't really playing anyway. The past couple weeks, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, Raiders just need a quarterback. They like desperately need a quarterback, and they're probably going to finish somewhere like the 6-7 win range. So they're going to be in a draft position where there's most of the elite quarterbacks are probably gone. So that sucks for them. Uh, but yeah, Pierce kicking that field goal late there. I understood it because they were like backed up, and you kick a field goal, you get 3 times, your defense would stop, touchdown wins the game pretty much most likely. So I understand that, but I probably would have gone for it. I don't think it was the worst decision for Pierce to take the field goal, but obviously you lost the game, so that's going to get talked about, especially because Pierce is already taking some heat. People are saying he's on the hot seat. Uh, so yeah, just the Rams just kind of an ugly win. Just expected their offense to be better in this one, but they were able to get a win. They very much needed to win this one, so good for them. Raiders kind of spiraling out of control. Rams they can win tonight against Vikings. That'll get their season right on the right track. Panthers and Commanders. Oh boy, sorry, I was about to like sneeze there. Okay, so I expected the Commanders to take care of business in this one. I think most people did too, and I really don't think there's much to talk about this game. That's exactly what happened. From the start, they just were, oh boy, they just killed the Panthers and everything. Again, the Panthers pretty solid opening drive, and which I think if I remember in the game right. And then Dalton throws a pick six. It was just he just missed a dump off, a check down, and it was a pick six. And then floodgates just opened from there. Commanders offense just up and down the field, scoring at will. The Panthers offense had nothing. Really good game from the Commanders overall, defense, offense, everything. Um, I mean special teams. I think they had a couple of nice punts too. And obviously, big story. Gene Daniels got hurt in this one, and Mariota came in. He had a great game 18 to 23, 205, 2 touchdowns. Dalton played horrible. Bryce Young got some action late. He's going to get the start again. I forget who they play, but he's getting the start this week. Obviously, just looking at these stats, the Commanders outplayed them. Certainly deserved to win this game. They just outplayed them in every category except penalties. Yeah, they only had 1 punt, so I'm trying to. I think their special teams had some highlight play, so it wasn't a punt really. If they only had one, most likely. But maybe I'm thinking of a different game. Or I don't know what the hell I'm thinking. But Commanders just play great everywhere. Uh, Jane Daniels, they play the Bears this week, so I'm pretty sure. So obviously that'd be fun if he could make the get medically cleared, make the make it off the injury list, be able to play that game. Obviously, be Caleb Williams. There's Jane Daniels 1 versus 2, the first 2 overall picks this year. And God, I hope I'm not friggin' getting a cold right now, getting the sniffles here. Yeah, Bryce Young 2 of 2 for -4 yards. So that's a not a good stat line to end the game off of. Chuba Hubbard, just looking at the stats here, he had a touch. It was game was always in garbage time. But he had a touchdown run leading, nice cutback. They're probably going to be trading Deontay Johnson, the Panthers. I was going to say the Chiefs, but they just traded for Hopkins, so I assume they're done with the trades for receivers at least. But yeah, Panthers are just a disaster. I expected them to kind of be bad this year. Maybe not this bad, but pretty much everyone expected the Panthers to be bad. They're still in a rebuild, so just such very awful, just ugly game for them. Commanders just good sign. This could have been a trap game as bad as the Panthers are. They were capable of putting up points at Dalton, making it a competitive game. But Commanders, good sign. It's a sign of a good team where you're able to blow a team out and take care of business like this. So good for the Commanders. I do think they are legit. I think they seriously are going to contend for the NFC East. That's going to be interesting to see how that division pans out. Chiefs Niners. What a weird game in this one. So if you just look at Mahomes' stat line, just look at this here, and didn't know anything else about this game, you would just think the Chiefs lost this game for sure. He had like a 44 quarterback rating, I think, and just not a good passing day for him, obviously. He did have a scramble on the sideline there. Everyone's talking about that. It's just the NFL. There's just you can't hit a quarterback. There's going to be a penalty, especially Mahomes. So I think everyone, the Niners DBs were just afraid to hit him to draw the penalty flag. If this was like the 2000s NFL, friggin' he'd be getting blasted out there, probably get hurt on the sideline after a hard hit. But it's the NFL nowadays. Obviously, it's not as violent. They took away a lot of the brutal hits and to really just kind of tone down the. I don't want to say like it's soft. It's not soft. It's football, obviously, but compared to like the early 2000s days, it definitely is not as aggressive and like more as violent with tackling. I don't really know what the hell I'm describing, but hopefully you guys know what I mean. The Chiefs probably they did deserve to win this game. Their defense balled out in this one. Purdy had a bad game too. So in his 17 and 31, he had 3 picks. He had a really bad pick in the end zone that could have made it a 1-score game late in the fourth. That's another story. Deebo Samuel was sick. I don't even think he. I want to say he either didn't play or only had like one drive, and he went to the locker room and was out for the game because of illness. He had to go to the hospital after. Ayuk tore his ACL, so he's on my one of my fantasy teams. I'm 4-3, but it's really not a great team, so that hurts my team even more. Probably gonna have to look at some trades maybe. Um, yeah, the Niners were really thin at receiver. The Chiefs are obviously entered this game thin at receiver, and they came out of it adding D Hop, so that's not the case so much now. Even though I do think D Hop is an absolute stud. I do think he might have the capability. I don't think. Okay, I think he's a stud. He has the capability of having a really good season the rest of the year, but I don't think at this stage of his career he's going to be putting up 100 plus yards every week, and Mahomes is going to be back to like old Patrick Mahomes stat lines, and the Chiefs offense is going to be like magically fixed. Maybe here and there he's going to look unstoppable, and it's like, all right, yep, the Chiefs offense back in gear. But I just don't think sustainably it's going to be like that. Out of all like I don't know, out of all the receivers, like they tried to trade for Kupp, but couldn't make it work with the salary. Like Kupp, I would have been like, oh my God, like, yeah, this offense is as long as Kupp stays healthy, it's right back in gear. But I think D Hop is a stud. I don't mean to like throw shade at him, but he's obviously entertaining, stud, really good to watch. Obviously, he's had no quarterback play with Levis this year. Levis was better last year than he is this year, but then he had Ryan Tannehill. He put up over 1,000 yards last year, I think, anyway. But not really his fault. He hasn't been getting involved. The Titans' offense has been so bad this year with the quarterback play. But I just don't think he's gonna do miracles on the Chiefs, and they're gonna be like the Chiefs offense that we're used to seeing, I guess. Maybe in spurts and here and there, but I don't think at a consistent level. But getting back to this game, yeah, it was the Niners, just really weird game. Niners defense was playing pretty well up until that fourth quarter there. Mahomes had another two picks in this one. He now is, I think, 6 touchdowns and 2 picks on the year. Drake May had one less passing touchdown than Mahomes does. And obviously, Mahomes has played every game. Drake May's only played two. And then he played the very end of the garbage time against the Jets. But he's only played 2 full games. Mahomes has played 6. But people keep saying the only thing that matters is the Chiefs are 6-0. They keep winning, which obviously that is the thing that matters most. But I just like Tom Brady would have never had a stat line like this bad, have a 44 quarterback rating. Mahomes has not been good all year. Tom Brady has never played as poorly, at least statistically, as Pat Mahomes has been playing in the at the start of this year in his career, and has gone 6-0. He's never been that fortunate. And I think Brady is light years ahead of Mahomes. Like I think the comparisons are ridiculous. Maybe I'll end up doing a video on that one day. I could just go on a full-on rant about why I think Tom Brady is clearly light years ahead of Pat Mahomes. I just cannot stand the comparisons. But yes, getting back to yeah, Mahomes had a pick. They had a pretty good drive going for them, and he ended up getting a pass deflected, got picked. His other pick came Worthy slipped. I was just waiting to see a penalty flag bail Mahomes out again. Most turnovers since he most turnovers overturned via penalty since he's entered the league. He already, I think, has more turnovers overturned by penalty than Brady had in his entire career. Just friggin' insane. Also was like more touchdowns off of screen passes than Brady had in his entire career and checkdowns, but that's okay. I don't want to get in that video. I'll probably do a video on that one day. I just friggin' hate Mahomes and the Chiefs so much. Comparisons are so ridiculous, but that's okay. This game though, I keep getting off topic about this game in particular. What else? Kareem Hunt had a pretty good game. They are really giving him a big workload. He had 20-something carries against the Saints 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he had 78, 2 touchdowns. Noah Gray had a pretty good game. He's kind of been sneakily underrated the past couple of years. Obviously, he's not a big name guy, but he has some games where he makes some pretty good catches. Yeah, besides that, the receiving core didn't really do anything. Kelsey, not great game statistically. Jordan Mason had a couple nice rushes. The Niners had a sequence in this game where, yeah, after that Mahomes pick, they were able to score. Then they missed the extra point. Anders Carlson, very up and down career, obviously. Was hit like 50-50. He was going to make any kick or not with the Packers last year, it felt like. Obviously missed the biggest one in the playoff game against the Niners. That divisional round may have cost them the game, which they might have beaten the Lions, and they give them a good shot against beating the Chiefs in that Super Bowl. But who knows? I don't think Anders Carlson's the sole reason they didn't get to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that, but that kick did turn that game late, gave the Niners momentum. But anyway, I keep getting off topic about this game. Yeah, so Carlson missed the extra point, and then Mahomes had a deep shot to Kelsey. Looks like he might bring it in. Then it was incomplete. Nice play by the DB. I want to say it was Ward that made the play. And the Niners, Mason had a nice rush. Niners looks like they were able to score, get the lead, and then there was a miscommunication. Purdy threw another pick. So that was bad. I forget the other pick off the top of my head. It was a bootleg play, I think, and he just threw it right to one of the Chiefs DBs. Miscommunication. He misread the field. I don't know what happened, but that was not a very good play on Purdy's part. But the obviously Chiefs defense has been balling out all year. I opened my windows like friggin' 3,000 degrees in my room here. But Chiefs defense has been balling out all year. Another really good performance in this one. Niners scored late in garbage time to make it more respectable. But Chiefs defense has been the main reason they're winning every game. It's just like, yes, the Chiefs defense has been balling out, and most of the results are because of that. But it's like some teams just make some calls and execute offense where it's like, what are they doing? It's like they just forget how to play against the Chiefs defense. And maybe that's just the Chiefs part because of their defense playing well. I don't know. But Ayuk had a rough drop in this one. The Niners were really showing offensively. Purdy hit him right in the hands. Looks like he had some run in front of him and dropped it. So that was bad. Then he tore his ACL, like as I mentioned. But oh boy, just if a team can force the Chiefs to keep up with them on the scoreboard, like they if a team plays Chiefs and they're up 10-0 or 14-0, and they're able to score more than 30. I think that's the big key to beating the Chiefs, and you can say that for any team. But the Chiefs, real offensively, are just putting up ugly, 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 and then ugly performance. Besides that Ravens game, Week 1, really, they had a pretty good offensive game in that one. They were able to move the ball pretty consistently throughout that game. But even though the Ravens defense has kind of been iffy this year, um, yeah, I think I got most of this game. I just freaking hate the Chiefs. Please just lose. I hate them so much. Niners 3-4, injuries piling up. They'll probably be in the market for a receiver with Ayuk out. Just I think they'll. I mean, they definitely. This is a Super Bowl hangover season. It feels like. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll honestly probably finish around like 10-7 ish, maybe around there. Probably get in, maybe win the wild card. But I honestly, at this point, I don't think I see them getting past the divisional round. Um, Jets. So this was Sunday night game. So this is kind of another weird game the way it played out. So Russell Wilson started. Pretty good first drive, and then after that, I think it was two straight punts. They don't even think they got like a first down. Kind of really struggled after that. Maybe they got like one first down in those two series there. Jets scored a touchdown in the first quarter. They scored a touchdown in the second quarter on a weird play where Jeff Ulbrich went to challenge it and he dropped the challenge flags. It looked like call it a clear touchdown. And then he threw it out, but they already had snapped the ball, the Jets, and Rodgers ended up throwing a touchdown. So that was kind of weird. They ended up just a really weird play there. They ended up scoring. So it didn't cost them anything, just kind of funny. Unless you had like Brees Hall in fantasy or something. Um let's see. Yeah, so the Steelers got a field goal, I think, in the second, and it was 15-6. And I think it was 15-6 because the Jets ended up getting a 2-point conversion after that touchdown on a bad call where the ball got moved to like the 1 yard line and they converted. Rodgers threw it in, threaded the needle. I forget to who exactly. and there was a bad call. The PAT got blocked, but they called, I think it was Mika Fitzpatrick on like a legal touching. It should not have been. They called him for a push off, and it was not a push off. It was a bad call. They brought in friggin' what Terry McCauley, I want to say, pointing his last name. The rules analyst, he said it was a bad call. That Tirico and Collinsworth were like, yeah, that's not a good call, just a bad call. And then Rogers ended up throwing a pick in the second. Steelers ended up getting a touchdown off of that. Russell Wilson had a couple nice deep passes. He had one to Pickens, and the touchdown was to Pickens, I'm pretty sure. If I remember right. Yeah, it was the Pickens touchdown. It was like second and 17, I think, and he had a nice lob pass. Chris Collinsworth kept saying moonball. He said it about 400 times during the game. Down the left sideline there. And yeah, and then after that, the Jets had nothing offensively. The Steelers scored like 30 something straight points. I think 31 straight points they scored. Yeah, they're on 15-6, if I remember right. They scored 37, so I think 31 straight points. So obviously that's bad for the Jets. I honestly am not panicking about the Jets. Everyone thinks they're done. I mean, they play us this week, so that should be 3-5 for them. Obviously, I hope not, but probably will be beating us since we're so terrible. They've shown signs of being a good team. They just can't string together over the past couple weeks for a full game. That Bills game they should have won. I think they outplayed the Bills. That Broncos game they should have won. Then that Vikings game, they after that they were down big to start. Their defense clamped up and they had a chance to win the game at the end with a touchdown. It was a miscommunication with Mike Williams, who actually he's probably going to get traded too. I think the Steelers were actually in trade talks to trade for Mike Williams, but they paused it till after this game. But yeah, Russell Wilson looked really good. Looked like a really complete Steelers offense. I think this is the most points they've scored in a while, at least that I can remember, the top of my head. So in the stats here, Steelers definitely outplayed the Jets. They deserved to win this game. Uh, Najee Harris had a pretty good game, yeah. Um, Jets had pretty much nothing in the run game. Hall had a nice touchdown catch. He had a nice couple catches he got. One of them, he was a check down. He broke a bunch of tackles, ended up getting a big play out of it. Vontae Adams only 3 for 30. First play of the game, hit Adams right in the hand. He dropped it. He didn't really do too much. Not really worried there. They'll probably be fine there. As the season goes on, I don't think it'll be like the 2019 to like 2021 Rodgers to Adams, but who knows? I think they'll be getting it going as the season goes on. But yeah, the Jets 2-5. I think they just need to string some complete games together. But I think I don't want to say like they're perfectly fine. They just got to string some games together. I don't know how to say it. I just got to string some games together where you play a complete game of football, and they just their offense plays good and their defense plays bad, or vice versa. They just can't get on the same page, it seems. But a couple close losses. Jets, I don't remember what their schedule looks like off the top of my head, but again, I mentioned they played us, so that should be a win rate there. Maybe that gets them back on track, but they get too much talent and they get Reddick coming in, so they ended up Reddick ended up ending his holdout, and well, that was kind of a tongue twister. And yeah, he's coming back for the Jets, signed a contract extension. Yeah, just really complete game for the Steelers. They're heading in the right direction, 5-2. Jets looked like they had this game. They were gonna take control, kind of hold on, maybe win a close one at the end, but they just got stomped on in the second half. 31 straight points to the Steelers that after being down 31-6. That Rodgers also had another pick, hit Garrett Wilson right in the hands and stride, and then it like bounced off his chest plate and then got picked. Rodgers is friggin' must be beyond fuming. Oh God, about that one. Yeah, I think this is the this play right here is the We can't really get us in between the tabs here, but I think this way here is the big reception Brees Hall got. I talked about a bit there, but yeah, Rodgers, I don't think he's been playing. I mean, he's been playing great, but I don't think he's been playing as bad as most people in the media have been presenting him as playing as. And I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers guy, but yeah, it was good to see Russell Wilson have a pretty good game. Um, yeah, I think I got most of this game covered. Actually, did I? Okay, no, yeah, I did do the. No, I did these ones, but yeah, Steelers definitely deserved to win. Yeah, deserved to win this one. Definitely outplayed them there. Just looking at the stats there. Okay, then the two Monday night games. I freaking hate when they do two Monday night games. So the Bucks started off red hot. They were up 10-0. Evans got a touchdown grab. Bucks opening drive. Bucks defense sacked Lamar twice, I think, on their opening drive, the Ravens opening drive. Bucks offense another nice drive, and they ended up having to settle for a field goal. And then Mike Evans got hurt, and then the rails kind of just fell off the Bucks after that. Well, he was hurt coming in, but he hurt his hamstring. Mayfield hit him right in the it was the second, yeah, it was the second quarter. Mayfield hit Evans like right in the hands, and he wasn't able to hold on, and he got hurt, got brought out of the game. And then a couple plays later, Mayfield threw a pick in the red zone, so or the end zone, I mean. So that was obviously a tide changer right there. Ravens ended up scoring 17 straight in the second quarter. Then they scored 17 straight in the third quarter. So they scored 34 straight points. They were up 34-10. Lamar, really efficient day passing. Of course, I was up like 40 something, and my opponent had Henry and Jackson. I ended up friggin' losing. I desperately needed to win too. I was so pissed off and annoyed. It's the league I won last year. My team is now 2-5, and on paper, it is so stacked. I just cannot string wins together. But anyway, Lamar had a really good passing day, 281, only five incompletions, five touchdowns. Henry really didn't get much going until he had a like 80-yard toss play, and then he had another long run after that. That ended up getting his rushing yards up. He had a receiving touchdown too. Lamar had a couple nice scrambles too, per usual. Bateman had a deep touchdown throw. I think that was in the second, or no, I think that was in the third quarter. Just showed a couple dump offs on screens. The Ravens had it one scene, they got back to near like the freaking 40-yard line at a second and goal. They dumped it off to Hill. Then they third quarter they dumped it off to Hill, get some field goal yardage on another penalty they got. I think a holding. So that's kind of inflated his stat line a little bit. The Bucks late in the game, they ended up well, who was? I think it was Zion McCollum hit a scoop and score. It was he got pushed like 10 yards into the end zone. They ruled him down by contact. That was insane though anyway. Just it would have counted. They would have scored there. But Bucks ended up getting a touchdown, getting a 2-point conversion, cut it to 16-point lead, and I'm like, oh my friggin' god! I'm like, now they're gonna pound Henry. He's gonna get some more fantasy points. I was up like 3 at this point, so I was just praying for a miracle. And then Henry got a second long run. Then that was the receiving touchdown. I'm like, a friggin' course. I just stabbed me in the heart some more. And then the Bucks got another touchdown, and then they got an onside. It was like a perfectly kicked onside kick by Chase McLaughlin, who I have him in fantasy. I picked him up off of waivers for Jake Moody when he got hurt. He's been a freaking stud in fantasy and for the Bucks. Even last year, he was a stud for them. So they ended up recovering, and I can't remember they they I think they might have scored after that. Yeah, they did because it was a Rachaad White. They had blown coverage, and Rachaad White ended up walking into the end zone. He got like a screen pass touchdown too. So Rachaad White did, I mean, and yeah, then they forced the Ravens to punt, and they were down 10, and they're throwing the ball late. Which I mean, you're in the game, so this is Todd Bowles took a lot of heat because this is where Godwin got hurt and is out for the year. Todd Bowles taking a lot of heat. I mean, I'm not a big Todd Bowles guy as a head coach. I think he's a big reason why the Bucs basically ruined Tom Brady's last year as like the biggest Tom Brady fan on the planet. But I respect Todd Bowles, really good defensive coach. I really enjoy his scheme. But I'm gonna defend Todd Bowles here because you're down 10. I mean, you're in the game. Like, yes, it's going to be miraculous, but if you can somehow get a field goal and then get the onside, you can at least like attempt a Hail Mary, or if you get a very quick touchdown, obviously you can go for the field goal if you somehow get the onside, or maybe even the Hail Mary. Who knows? I mean, it's going to take a miracle, but it's possible. You're in the game. So, especially because they scored 21 in the fourth quarter, the Ravens were blowing coverages defensively and stuff. So I mean, I don't really blame Todd Bowles too much. If no one got hurt, if Godwin didn't get hurt, no one would be saying a thing about the Bucs trying to push the ball downfield. Just because someone got hurt, people are talking about it, kind of making a big deal out of it. So yeah, the Bucs defense. I mean, they allowed 41 in this game. They allowed how much did they allow? They might have allowed. Let me look. I know they allowed over 500 passing yards to Kirk Cousins in that Thursday game. Let's see. Yeah, they allowed 36. So, I mean, their defense has been struggling the past couple weeks. So, I think their defense will clean it up. I'm not too concerned there, but offensively, obviously, Big Boy, who's an Evan or Godwin for the year, Evans for at least a couple weeks. So, obviously, your top two receivers. So, someone's going to step up there. They play the Falcons this week. So, the Falcons kind of catching a break, getting them at the right time with the injuries there. In the last game here, Chargers Cardinals. So I think I predicted like a 2023-ish game, something like that, in my picks video. And yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I think I did 43 as my total points tiebreaker. I did get the Cardinals winning though, so I was a little bit nervous at the end there. But I almost bet a bonus bet for a scoreless quarter, which a freaking anytime I do that, it ends up looking like it's gonna happen, then it doesn't. And I didn't in this one, and it doesn't happen. And I didn't in Titans Dolphins, which that would have been an obvious one, considering the fact you had Levis in and you had Huntley making his first start of the year. So I should have friggin' did that one, but whatever. But getting back to this game here, yeah, actually, let me go back to this game real quick. I think I did the stats here. So yeah, 3 and over 500 yards of offense. Bucs almost had 500 yards too. A lot of it came in the fourth, though. Ravens defense stepped up after that first quarter. Rushing yards, Henry went off. Passing, the Bucs were down 100 late. They had to keep passing. Yeah, they had more first downs again. A lot of it late. Yeah, 35 minutes time session. A little bit surprised at that. Yeah, Baker's 2 picks weren't very pretty. That's 5 picks in the past 2 weeks for Baker too. He's gonna clean that up. Penalties not great for either team really. Yeah, they hit over 20 more plays the Bucs did than the Ravens. That's kind of insane. But all right, just wanted to look at the stats there. But get back to the Chargers Cardinals game here. Yeah, so low scoring. Herbert had a really nice play where it was a play action. He hit his man deep. Who was it? Might be able to tell from the stats here. Oh yeah, it was Jalen Reagor, I'm pretty sure. Old guy from the Patriots. And he well, obviously from the Eagles first and then the Vikings and then us, I mean, but yeah, he hit Reagor and then it got punched out and the Cardinals recovered it in the end zone for a touchback. Then the Chargers also late in the game had a sequence where there was a penalty flag thrown. It was going to give them a first down. They'd be able to chew a great deal, or a great that would have been kind of a weird phrasing. They were going to be able to chew a good amount of the clock and maybe even all of it, take the field goal to win the game there. And yeah, then they picked up the penalty. The refs saying it was uncatchable. I think there was a miscommunication. Herbert, I forget he threw to on the play, but his receiver there, if his receiver had ran upfield more towards the ball, they probably would have kept the penalty. They probably, I don't know, they would have won the games. The Cardinals didn't get all three timeouts, but yeah, that would have gone a long way in helping them win the game. And so yeah, just very low scoring game in this one. Just a lot of field goals to the charge. I don't even think the Chargers scored a touchdown, if I remember right. Yeah, they didn't even score a touchdown. Obviously, that's been a big storyline of the years. The Chargers offense, they just need some receivers. Again, another really solid game from the Chargers defense in this one. They yeah, Chargers were up 6-0. Cardinals had a couple nice, a lot of weird things happening in this game. Kyler had a play, he threw a pick, and then the Chargers defensive lineman, I forget who picked it off, but he ended up getting the ball punched out, and then the Cardinals recovered. It's just some weird things happen in this game like that, and then the touchback play. But Cardinals ended up putting a nice drive together, got a touchdown. James Conner had a pretty good game, broke a lot of tackles, 19 for 101. He had a check down that went a long way, basically set up the game winner, the game winning field goal there. Um, yeah, Trey McBride, pretty good game. Outside of that, and then Connor's one big catch. They didn't really get too much going. Marvin Harrison, a lot of people talking about there was a play that was like wide open, but I think Kyler scrambled and I just didn't see him or it was too late to scramble. So a lot of people want Marvin Harrison to get more involved. They're blaming Kyler, saying he missed him there. He missed him wide open in the Bills game, might have won that game. We saw him there. But yeah, kind of a weird season for Marvin Harrison Jr. so far. Outside of that part, the not the Cardinals, the Cardinals game, the Rams game. I mean, he really is not done too much. Um, but yeah, Chargers ended up getting that field goal late. I thought that when they ended up converting on fourth down, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna win this game. But the Cardinals defense ended up holding and held into a field goal. And it was up to Kyler to be the hero, game winning drive, and hit Marvin Harrison right in the hands, and he dropped it. They called an unnecessary roughness. And then after that, the James Conner big catch and run happened, and then that pretty much iced the game. Chad Ryland, game winning field goal, another old guy from the Patriots. But yeah, oh yeah, this player here, Kyler, that was in the fourth quarter. They had a big scramble up the sideline, score a touchdown. So yeah, just low scoring. Chargers struggled offensively. Were able to move the ball through ports this game. A nice drive late in the fourth, but again had to settle for a field goal. It was their first field goal of the fourth quarter. The drive I have in mind. I'm pretty sure if I remember right. Um, yeah, Cardinals. They talked about it, but big difference between 2-5. They would have lost this, and 3-4. So they have the ability to be a really sneaky, kind of scrappy team this year. Much needed win if they want to be that type of team this year. Actually, the NFC, I don't think they'll win the division, but the NFC West kind of up for grab for anyone right now. The Niners are all injured. Seahawks, they played good this week, but 3 straight losses. Rams are beat to hell. So who knows? Maybe the Cardinals can somehow surprise us all, win that division. I don't think they will, but Chargers, I think they honestly should be in the market for a receiver in the trade deadline coming up in about 2 weeks here. But yeah, look at the stats here. Yeah, they actually just based off of yards, Chargers had a pretty good game offensively. Herbert had a pretty good passing game. Um, yeah, pretty good passing game from Herbert. Yeah, Will Dissly had a really good game too. He did have a nice couple catches good catch that I remember now. McConkey pretty solid. Josh Palmer pretty solid. Fahoku pretty solid. Right here, that one deep one I talked about. Stone Smart, that was the 31-yard catch he had on the the Chargers' first drive. It was right after the Kyler touchdown scramble. That drive, I tried to put the first field goal in the fourth quarter. But yeah, pretty even game here. Chargers, I think, probably did deserve to maybe win this game. I don't know. It was kind of even though. You can argue both sides. I mean, the Cardinals did win the game. It's not about who deserves to win, obviously, but it was just a pretty even like the Chargers. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, the Chargers should have won this game. I mean, they lost by 2, and they had that fluke play with the it was a great play, but just it's not going to most likely happen again. That punch out turned into a touchback, so that's 7 off the board, assuming Cameron Dicker makes the extra point. Then they had that interception that Kyler threw. They lost it there. That's another insane kind of a fluke, good play, but fluky play. So the Chargers kind of, just like the Chargers were used to, kind of beat themselves a good portion in this one. Although the Cardinals did earn it, credit to them. Pretty good game. Okay, pretty sure I got all the games here. Um, yeah, got all the games here. All right, so I did pretty good with my picks too. I think I went 10-5, so not the greatest, but picking it up a little bit after that rough stretch the first couple weeks of the year. And my parlay hit. Thank God NBA's back on. Thank God my Celtics freaking demolished the Knicks. Uh, my parlays have come very close to hitting with the NBA, so hopefully I get some more luck with the. I needed Jaylen Brown to score 2 more. I would have won $12. Would have had my 3-leg hit, and then I had a 5-leg last night, and the friggin' Rockets blew it for me against the Hornets. I'm like, why did I bet on the Rockets? I'm like, what a friggin' idiot. They were up 18 against the Hornets, and I think pretty sure the Hornets starting center ended up getting hurt in the middle of the game. I think the Hornets won 21 games the year prior and they blew it. And I'm like, bruh, like, come on. I just cannot catch a friggin' break. I would have won $15. There's a free one that LeBron needed to score a single point. So I ended up winning $20 off of that. The max bet was only 10. They doubled your money. But anyway, pretty good week of football. Hopefully you guys are good with picks, fantasy, betting, all that good stuff, as I always say. Pretty entertaining week, except for my team. But you're so friggin' bad. We're a disaster. But I will end the video here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, take it easy.